Welcome back to my space and thoughts on all things health. We're here on part 4 of the 4-part series with Dr. Rose Misati. It has been a journey on childhood trauma. If you haven't already watched the first 3 episodes, please go ahead and do, because now we are coming to the culmination of it. We have seen how we have been explained for what childhood trauma is and how it affects our relationships and how it affects parenting and intergenerational trauma. And so today we want to see and find out, is there hope?
This is very important for us to talk about, and I just want to say at this point that this is not meant to be medical advice. So please, you need to seek help from your relevant medical professional. So don't say, I listened to this and they said this and I'm doing it. So I thought that is very important. Yes, there is hope, and nobody is so badly damaged that they cannot experience a result, even within a very short time. As we say, trauma is universal, that all of us at one point or another, we have experienced childhood trauma, or we will experience trauma even as adults. And then also trauma is individual. It is the person who has gone through it who knows what they experienced. That's why you will find children raised in the same home, they turned out differently. And I've seen many times, like the one who has maybe gotten into addiction or something, they are being blamed. But you grew up in the same home, what's wrong with you?
Why are you like
the
this?
Other people turned out well. But you know, remember, everybody experiences trauma differently. Based
We can't
on
generalize it.
We can't. So it's individualized.
Okay.
So there's hope. And you know, once you get to the place whereby you now acknowledge that I'm traumatized, can I just say, for me, I always say 60% of the work is done. So you have moved from denial or not knowing to the point of, I can see the way this has influenced or affected me. And let me say this, I've said it in many places, healthy behavior does not need an explanation. So if you find yourself saying, me, I have anger issues, me, I'm clingy, me, I'm jealous, me, I'm possessive, something needs to heal. Yeah. Healthy behavior does not need an explanation.
Wow.
Like I have to say, me, I'm like this.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if
Mi
you have
nakuanga
noticed,
hivi.
me nakuanga hivi,
Yeah.
look at the source. Go back. Most of the time, the source is from childhood. Sometimes even I tell people, it could be from your ancestors. I think we have already seen epigenetic alteration
Yes.
and
Intergenerational
trauma. That's why I tell people, go back and listen to stories about your ancestors, because you could be struggling with something that affected your ancestors. Now you are a recipient of these genes that were altered. So once you have realized, you have acknowledged, there are many ways that you can seek healing. You can read a book. There are many books. You can watch podcasts. You can watch videos and find out, or you can seek professional help. For me, I advise professional help because a professional shortens your journey. You don't need to take 40 days in the desert when a professional can take you through in 4 months, for example.
Okay.
So you need to reach out to someone or even read whatever you do, because there are many ways. And once you do that, one critical or integral step is that you need to forgive. There's no healing without forgiveness.
There is no healing without
forgiveness. Because if you have not forgiven the people who traumatized you, it's like you're chained to them. So if you realize that your parents or significant people in your life traumatized you, you need to forgive them unconditionally. Meaning whether they change or not, you're forgiving them. Because people do the best with what they have.
Yes.
Probably that's what they had. It's not like they were intentionally out to hurt you. They hurt you because we have seen they were also recipients of this trauma. It's a chain. So they did what they did with what they had. Now you know better, you do better. So once you forgive them, then you purpose to get to the point of even forgiving yourself. There's one of the videos we did about forgiving self.
Yes.
Maybe there are choices you have made because of the trauma. Forgive yourself. I have said this several times, that some of the choices I made in my romantic relationships, wrong choices that is, because I'm not an angel, they are based on the trauma that I experienced as a result of having lost my father when I was a toddler. So when I look back, I realized the way I allowed myself to be objectified because I was looking for fatherly love, and I know I'm not alone. So I had to get to a point where I forgave myself for those wrong choices, because I had a choice. I didn't need to allow myself to be used in that way,
Yes,
but I
exactly.
did because I thought that's the way I'm being loved, you see. So I had to forgive myself, critically important. But I also did this because I was traumatized. I'm not excusing it. I'm saying it was wrong, but then it was because of my trauma. So you forgive yourself. Once you do that, then you begin the journey of learning. We call it reparenting. Learning skills that you never learned as a child.
So you're reparenting yourself.
You are reparenting yourself. You're becoming that parent to yourself. Maybe you never learned to set boundaries. Maybe you never learned self-care. Maybe you never learned how to make decisions. You never learned how to communicate. That's a major one. So you find ways, enroll for a course, listen to a video, read a book, talk to somebody. You learn now these skills that you never learned. Because these are the skills, when you don't have them, they are sabotaging your relationships. Because you can't communicate.
Yeah.
You just shut people. You know, you get annoyed and you block everywhere. And somebody's wondering, what has happened? You ghost people. You know, you are living in the land of the dead. You're just ghosting.
That's all you're doing.
That's all
running
you're doing
away.
because of your trauma, running away. So you need to learn. And so once you learn those skills also, it's important if you can have people of that gender that you feel traumatized you. Let me give an example. Like now for me in my case, because I had a lot of trauma, but one major one was fatherlessness, not having a father. So I had to get male figures, mature people who can speak into my life, because you still have that dirty wound. So, but again, there, be careful, because some people can take advantage of you. So you need to be in a safe space where you have people, maybe it's an uncle, maybe it's somebody who, when you need to talk, you need to hear that male voice, the person can be there for you. You need to hear that female voice. Girls who've been traumatized by their mothers, you find they shun other females. They're like, hey, women, you know, so they shun. They're like, women, we're our worst enemies.
Yes.
And then they have this mommy wound. They think it can be filled by a man. It can't. You need a woman to fill that gap. So you still need to get safe women, mature, who can speak into your life. So that is how you reparent yourself, and that's how you heal. And you keep on investing in healing. I told you earlier on, before we came on set, that healing from childhood trauma is like pushing a boulder, a huge rock on top of a hill, or even on top of a cliff. You know how hard that is?
And sometimes it rolls back.
You go back right there. And that's how healing is. You go maybe 2 steps front, 3 back. You go 1 front, you go 2 back, 5 back, or even 7. But then the thing is that you keep going. Don't ever say die, don't ever give up. Because what is the alternative? Staying traumatized.
Staying in that horrible place.
Staying in that horrible place, because you find you're like a diamond that is buried in the rubble. You never exploit your full potential. You will pass that trauma to your generation. Should you decide to have children, you will traumatize other people. You'll end up being isolated and alone. Who wants to be alone and lonely?
Nobody.
By the way, I was telling somebody that for me, my experience in trauma counseling is that everybody I've come across who says they don't want to get into a relationship or they don't want to have a child, a lot of them, they are saying that out of trauma. I'm telling you, for me, that's my experience. But maybe if you're out there and it's not out of trauma.
Because many people say, I don't want a child, I'm fine, I'm just fine.
Many of them, there's a story behind the story.
Wow.
There is a story. Even me, I didn't want a child because I was traumatized, and I have 4. I was traumatized because I helped my mother take care of my younger siblings when she was raising us single-handedly. Okay. So I was really traumatized.
So you were parenting at an age when you shouldn't have been
Exactly.
parenting.
I was adulted, parentified as a child. So for me, the sight of a child or the cry of a child completely traumatized me. I'm like, I don't want. I want
now
to have, because I never had a childhood. So I'm like, hey, I want to enjoy my life. So you see, that might have looked like the default that I would say, but you see, I was making that decision out of trauma.
Yeah.
You see. So there are decisions you may have made out of trauma, but when you heal, you discover that by choosing differently, you're going to exploit your full potential. You'll be a blessing to the world and even a blessing to your families. Childhood trauma is a monster. It makes people, and it's even the source of narcissistic personality disorders, mental illnesses, and many others. So imagine you have no choice. I mean, I say it's make it or make it or make it. Whichever way, just find a way of, reaching out and getting to heal. Nobody deserves to live in childhood trauma. Imagine.
Nobody at all.
Nobody at all. You don't deserve it. You deserve better.
So there is hope for me who has been hurt in my childhood, and I don't know I have been hurt.
Yeah. Now you have heard.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, now you've heard.
Yeah, now
so
you've
you
heard.
know. Now you
Yeah.
know. So you cannot claim ignorance. And then you see now there's hope, but then it's hard work. It is hard work.
Emotionally draining.
Emotionally draining, and then get the right
It ends up
professional.
becoming physically draining. Can you become sick?
Actually, you become sick. When I have people who have been so heavily traumatized and they're going through healing, that's why I recommend getting a competent professional who can know how to
we
take you
recommend her
through.
on this channel. Just
Yeah,
speak
who
with her.
can take you through, because I've seen when people are going through childhood trauma and they're in the process of unearthing the pain of the past and having it come out, it can actually manifest in physical symptoms. Have people who get panic attacks, they get anxiety, they have diarrhea, you know, irritable bowel, they have palpitations, they can't sleep. But you know what, you don't have a choice, you need to bring it out. So imagine if you're bringing out those memories, that pain, and it's causing physical sickness, it was still going to bring you illness when it's buried there. There's a doctor called Dr. Van de Kock. He has written a book called The Body Keeps the Score. So you may actually think that, hey, me, it didn't affect me. Your body keeps a score. Your body keeps the score, and it will manifest. There's no running away, by the way, from this thing. It will manifest. So it's better to just go through it. Actually, emotional healing, I call it like, it's like the way you have a boil and it's ripe with pus, and you go maybe to a doctor, or you're trying to to squeeze out the pus. It's painful, but after that, you feel so relieved.
Yeah.
Or like a toothache.
Yes.
You go, maybe the tooth needs to be pulled out, and it's painful. But when the tooth comes out, you can now sleep.
Exactly.
So
Very
you
well.
need to sleep. Yes.
So we just need to deal with it. It's painful. It will hurt. It can get you physically ill, even emotionally.
Even emotionally.
Mentally, you can
Even
be exhausted.
mentally, yeah, yeah.
But there is hope.
Panic attacks and anxiety, depending on the extent. And then it's important to also have a supportive community. Normally, when I've taken people through emotional healing, we form a support group. So like now we have a support group of mothers who have gone through healing. So they support each other. So we keep on, because it's a journey, we said. And getting to the point of stability is like a child who has learned how to walk. So you can't tell them, go and run a marathon. They have to walk with support. So we have this support group of moms who have gone through healing and who have purposed that it ends with me now. And they're bringing up a highly effective generation. Then I have a support group of single mothers. You know, single mothers who are raising children alone. They have gone through the journey of healing. They're in that support group. Wow. Because without the support group, somebody may most likely relapse. You need relationships. We are wired for connection. You need to have people in your life who can even call you out. They can guide you, they can support you, they can call you out.
They can, this is not how you should be behaving.
Exactly. They can even tell you, oh, I understand. You did that, I get that. Without judging, criticizing you, or invalidating you. Then you get encouraged. The feeling that I'm not alone. You know, that feeling in itself, actually, it fosters, it engenders healing. So
let's say I'd have to invest some kind of money.
Definitely, yes.
If I want to heal faster, as you said.
Yes, yes.
And with a professional support.
Yes.
And if I don't have, you said, there are books.
There are books.
There's YouTube videos.
You can even begin
video,
from
the
there.
ones we've done before.
Exactly.
And move from there, because not everybody is on the same financial level.
That is the thing. That is the thing. So watch videos. In fact, I tell people when they reach out to me, they can't afford, I tell them, that's why I do this content. That's why I have partnered. You know, we do this content so that it's public for everybody. And sometimes if you call me and you're a group, I can give the initial, but then individualized, it has to cost you something, because it also takes a lot from me.
Yes.
I also need to go for therapy after taking you through it,
yes.
because you're unloading the pain to me. So I also need to go and unload, and I will pay for it. So why should, I mean, it's not possible for me to offer you a service that I can't afford for myself.
Exactly, that's
because
true.
I'll also break, so I will also need to invest in it. So for individual, sometimes I even have students who come to me, university students, they're like, you know, I really want to go through this, but I can't afford. I ask, how much can you afford? They tell me 100 shillings a week, $1 a week. So I say, okay, let's go. You'll pay me in 10 years. Or something. Yes, let's go. So we start the process. Let me tell you, before we finish, they have paid everything. And I ask, but
where the money come from?
They said, you know, I realized it's really helping me. So I decided to skip a meal
Oh,
I decided
start
I can
saving.
have 2 meals. Yeah, I decided I can have 2 meals. I can walk. Some places I used to take matatu. I decided I can walk. I decided I don't need to drink a soda after lunch. I put that money, and that's how I've cleared.
Wow.
So for me, one thing I believe, where there is a will, there is a way. If you really want something so badly, don't say I can't afford. Ask, how can I afford it? And then let's talk.
Yeah.
If you really want, I believe you will not miss. You will have a way of going through it.
I agree.
Yes, and then the beauty is I offer my services online.
So
So you have
matter
no
where in the
excuse
world.
of saying, I'm in Nairobi, I'm not in Nairobi, me, I'm wherever, I'm in India. Wherever you are, the world is a global village.
Yes.
99.9 of my services online. That's it.
So it can be
you're
a phone
sorted.
call away, a Zoom away.
Phone call, a Zoom away, WhatsApp call away.
Whatever it is.
Email away, whatever. Whichever works for you.
Wow.
Good.
So guys, thank you so much. There is hope for us who have been damaged.
Yes, no one is damaged.
Traumatized.
I'm told that is labeling.
Oh, that's labeling.
That is labeling, saying we are damaged. But I get it in context.
Yes, for us who have been traumatized, and she says it's everybody, there is hope. So reach out. I'll put her details in the description box. If you think you may not be able to afford their books, there's YouTube videos. And one thing she said that we must have is a support group.
Yes, it's important.
People who are either on their journey or who have been on it and they share their like-minded person as you, who just wants to grow in their life. So I think I just want to say thank you so much for spending your time with us again.
Yes.
This 4-part series has been, there's so much more, guys. I always tell you, there's so much. We can have one episode for 5 hours.
True.
But,
it's just barely scratch the surface.
Just barely scratch
to whet
the
your
surface.
appetite
Thank
make
you.
you research and read.
Thank you. And go see her.
Yes.
Go and see her and do your inner work for yourself before you go bleeding on other people.
Exactly.
Which is not good.
It reminded me of a quote I put on Facebook. If you don't heal from people who hurt you, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Yeah.
If you don't heal from people who hurt you, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Wow. I think we'll just end it on that note. Thank you guys for staying on. We might bring her back. Let's see what you guys say. My channel is here for you guys. You know that's what I'm here for, so that we may grow together. So thank you so much for staying on. Share the content with those who you think might need it. Remember to subscribe, like, so that you can get notified when press the notification bell so that you can get notified when more of this content comes up. So thank you so much for staying on. God bless you and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.